Don't you hate it when a really cool looking JRPG gets revealed, you get all excited to play it, and then silence? It's the worst. Well, in today's video, I've compiled a list of 10 JRPGs that we've been waiting way too long for, including one that's closing in on a decade since its announcement. That's crazy. But for now, let's start with a game that we can finally get to play this year, and that's the Suikoden 1 and 2 HD Collection. Now, this game was originally announced in September of 2022. It's not really that bad relative to the rest of the list, but it's been about 2.5 years since its announcement compared to when it's going to release. Now, what made it worse is that it seemed like it was ready to go. When they first showed it, they showed a lot of gameplay. It was really great. They had the new character portraits, they had the widescreen mode. It just looked updated and amazing and ready to go. But then it got delayed several times, and to be honest, I'm not really sure why. I'm wondering if they were just trying to get out of Eiyuden Chronicles way, or they are trying to add more features or new platforms. I really just don't understand what took so long. But we won't have to wait that long because this game is finally coming on March 6th. Now, just as a little clarification, if you're wondering why there's only 9 games on this list, but I said 10 in the title, I'm counting 2 games here because it's 2 in 1 in a package, so it's cheating, I know, but that's the reason. Now, with Kingdom Hearts 4, I'm annoyed but not totally surprised. I mean, Kingdom Hearts does this all the time where they announce the new game and then it's just years before the game comes out. Kingdom Hearts 4 was originally announced in April of 2022, so we're getting close to 3 years and we pretty much haven't seen anything. You know, that's not as bad as Kingdom Hearts 3 where it was 6 years from the announcement to the release, but there's just so many questions like what's going on with this new setting? Are we still doing the Disney worlds? Are we going to get Disney characters? Are we leaning more into Final Fantasy? Is it going to just do its own thing? We really don't know a lot about this game. Like, Nomura, what are you cooking up? We're dying to know. Hopefully we get something, anything this year. Now let me tell you about a really cool looking upcoming game that you won't have to wait very long for at all, and that's today's sponsor, Kamibako Mythology of Cube. Kamibako is a JRPG inspired adventure game where you play as a restorer. You'll be journeying across the world with the goal of restoring it back to how it was before the Great Divide. Clear fragmentation scattered throughout the world by solving puzzles to bring continents back to life. And once you've cleared enough of them out, you can build your very own towns and villages however you'd like. And throughout the world are also vicious monsters that you'll battle through in strategic turn-based combat with a unique mana system. Collect mana throughout your adventures to unleash devastating special attacks from a diverse party of cool characters. You can also explore randomly generated dungeons for rare loot and materials that you can use to craft with. All this and so much more when Kamibako Mythology of Cube launches on January 30th for PC, PS4, PS5, and Nintendo Switch. Be sure to order your copy today, and the links in the description or pinned comment below. Thanks once again to Kamibako for sponsoring this video, and now back to the video. Now, I talked about Dragon Quest XII the last time I made a similar video to this, but now we're closing in on 4 years with nothing new. I mean, basically when they announced that game in May of 2021, it was just a logo reveal and they had some, little things like they were going to try to change up the combat. It's going to be dark, but we haven't seen a single screenshot, no character art, nothing. We've got a logo. That's all we've got to work with. Now, I would show better footage, but literally all we have is this logo reveal. There's nothing to go on. Now, what's funny is I remember people putting this game on their most anticipated games list of 2023, which is laughable now since the game didn't even come out last year and it probably won't come out this year either. Now, I wonder if they're trying to buy themselves some time with the HD 2D remakes. I mean, 3 was amazing and we're going to get 1 and 2 this year. And honestly, I feel like they could afford to buy themselves some time because of how much people enjoyed those games. But honestly, it's time to show something. It's getting ridiculous at this point. Dragon Quest XI was amazing. One of the best turn-based traditional JRPGs of all time. One of my favorite JRPGs of all time, and I'm really excited to see what they do with 12. Now, Fate Extra Record may not be a game people are familiar with, but it's a game that we've been waiting a long time for, going on almost 5 years. This is a remake to the 2011 PSP RPG of the same name, and they showed a pretty substantial trailer back in 2020 that looked really far along, but maybe it wasn't. Now, I'm not sure what the problem was or why it took so long for them to release this game. I mean, basically, they could have restarted production. It's going on 5 years. That's a long time to make a game, and they went pretty silent since they revealed it in 2020, but since then they've shown a lot more footage and it looks ready to go. It looks great. Now, they said it's coming in 2025, at least in Japan, but as far as I found, there's nothing confirmed for the West just yet, but it looks really cool. I never played it on PSP and I really want to play this remake. It just looks fantastic. Now we're moving on to another game that most of you probably haven't heard of, but you may have heard of its developer, Cygames. And this is for a game called Project Awakening. Now this was originally announced in September of 2018 as a PS4 exclusive. Obviously you can see it's going for a much more photorealistic look compared to their other game in Grand Blue Fantasy Relink. Seems like it's some sort of action RPG. It kind of gives off Monster Hunter and Dark Souls vibes. And what's interesting is in this singular trailer, there's actually English voiceover. Now in the time since its announcement, the only substantial update we ever got was this interesting engine tech demo thing in November of 2021. It showed snippets of the world and the landscape, but really not much else. And I guess it's a good thing that they're still working on it, but considering it was just a tech demo for an engine, I'm wondering if that original trailer was more of a concept than anything else. Now at this point, it's obviously moved over to PS5. We're sort of almost getting into PS6 territory if they wait any longer. I'm wondering if they just cancel this game. I mean, when you're going on 6 years, you've obviously restarted development, but I don't know what's going on with this game. It'd be nice to get some kind of update, whether they've canceled it, whether it's still coming, because what they did show looks amazing. Now, taking the crown for the game that we've been waiting the absolute longest since its announcement is Lost Soul Aside, originally announced in July of 2016. Now, when they first announced this game, it was sort of a one-man Unreal project, and it was clearly inspired by Final Fantasy 15, and it caught the attention of the China Hero Project and Sony itself, who now serve as the game's publisher. Now, again, it started as a one-man team, but now they've spun up a much bigger team. The game obviously has totally changed in scope and what the game's about. I mean, when you're taking 9 years, you've probably restarted development a few times. And you know what's really wild about this game is I've actually played it. Back at the 2017 PlayStation Experience, they had a demo booth and I got to try it. So it kind of plays like a fast-paced Souls-like, sort of like Neo. It was really, really hard, but pretty fun. And who knows if that's even what the game plays like now. I mean, that was a long time ago. But every time they show more of this game, I get excited. The world looks amazing. The combat looks amazing. The visuals are stunning. Now, supposedly it's coming out in 2025, but it was also supposed to come out in 2024. So who knows? I just want to play it again and see what it plays like now. And I know a lot of you guys do as well. Now, the next few games we're delving into the speculation territory because they haven't been officially announced, but there's some very prominent and highly likely leaks for these few games, so I think it's just a matter of time until these games come out. And the first one is the Final Fantasy IX Remake. Now, for those of you that are uninformed, back in September of 2021 or thereabouts, NVIDIA had a massive leak on their GeForce Now platform, which is like their cloud gaming service, and so companies would register games on there, and there was a massive leak, and a lot of people were like, I don't know if this is true or not. But if you go back and look at that list, a lot of the games that were on there that had not been announced have since been announced. And for Square Enix, it was a Crisis Core remaster, Final Fantasy VII Remake coming to PC, Kingdom Hearts 4, and a bunch more. And they've all been announced. Some of them have even come out. And among that list was a Final Fantasy IX Remake. To be clear, nothing official has been said by Square Enix. It hasn't been announced, but because of this leak, it's led a lot of people to believe that it's true. There were also rumblings of a cartoon based on Final Fantasy IX, but that never really came out. Every big showcase, I see people's predictions. They keep saying the Final Fantasy IX Remake. Now might be the time. Now that Final Fantasy XVI has come out, now that Final Fantasy VII Rebirth has come out, by the time this video comes out, Rebirth will be out on PC. Maybe 2025 is finally the year that we see this fabled Final Fantasy IX Remake. And the other game that was on that leak for Square Enix was a Final Fantasy Tactics remaster. Now, it was listed as a remaster, not a remake, which is kind of a bummer, but still, this game has not come to modern platforms outside of mobile, but it totally doesn't belong there. It deserves a nice, high-quality, modern platform release. Now, again, I don't know exactly what that means. Are they going to port the War of the Lions version from PSP? Are they going to go back and do the OG version? Now, I feel like this is definitely happening because the original director, Yasumi Matsuno, asked a hypothetical question about it on Twitter, asking if if Orlando was in the game, should we make him weaker? Or if we were going to do a remaster, should we nerf Orlando? Because for anybody that's played Final Fantasy Tactics, he's way overpowered. He's easily the strongest character in the game. If you add him to your team, you're basically playing on easy mode. And usually when developers say stuff like this, like, if we did do this, it would be really cool if we did this. So he's basically confirming without without actually confirming that they're doing it. If you followed my channel for a long time, you know I'm a massive proponent of Final Fantasy Tactics. It's one of my favorite games of all time. It's my most wanted remaster, remake, whatever you want to call it. So I really hope this is true and it finally comes out this year so everyone can experience this masterpiece. Now with this one, we're definitely going into deep speculation, but it seems like a foregone conclusion that Persona 6 is happening, and I feel like it's time. It's been 8 years since the original Persona 5 released, and they've been hinting that it's been in development, and especially now that they're done with Persona 3 Reload and Metaphor Refantasio, Atlus had a lot of games that came out in 2024, so it's like, what's left? Like, what could they release this year? I feel like it might be time to announce Persona 6. Now, the really interesting thing about Persona 6 is that it won't be the original creators. They all went over to start Studio Zero to make Metaphor. So what is this game gonna be like? Like, a lot of people have been wanting to get college kids or just adults doing Persona. So will it be that? What's the themed color for the game gonna be? Every Persona game has had a prominent color. Persona 3 was blue, 4 was yellow, 5 was red. Now, there is this anniversary picture where it has all the lineup of all the different characters from the Persona series, and there's this little green paint bucket on the side. And so a lot of people have been theorizing that they're teasing that Persona 6 is going to be green. That's going to be like the theme for that game because we haven't had green yet. It's kind of the only remaining color that they haven't really done yet. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if it got announced this year. I don't know if it'll come out this year. It might be too soon, but still, I wouldn't be surprised at all if we got a reveal for Persona 6 in 2025. Now, if you enjoy JRPGs and want to stay up to date with the latest news, reviews, and other fun videos just like this one, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss anything.